you can grow up indoctrinated, surrounded, immersed in a frum community, even a Chassidish community, and at any point in your life, you can suddenly decide, not interested. I don't agree with it, I don't like it, and I'm leaving. And there's intense pressure as far as environment is concerned. There's intense pressure not to do that, to go along, to stay in the system. And yet, it doesn't seem to be very difficult for people to completely disconnect and walk away as if nothing ever happened. Now, on the one hand, that's very upsetting, because we believe that education is effective. We know that if you present something appealing, people go for it, and that somebody can walk away is very upsetting. On the other hand, what does it show? It shows that as long as you have a brain, you can make choices, and you can disregard all the influences that are supposed to program you to behave a certain way. And that's good news. That shows that we're human beings. But each person is created with a fixed arena in which that freedom expresses itself. There are certain people who, by birth, if it's not good and if it's not holy, they're not interested. There's no appeal. If it's not godly, if it's not a mitzvah, if it's not kosher, not interested. It's as if their neshama never left heaven. So they live on earth, but they don't relate to it. It's not their business. like a soul without a body. Those are tzaddikim. Their reality is a different reality. So what determines where your choices are going to take place? Your perception of reality. How was it this, somebody, a Chernobyler, they put a glass of halavakim on the table just to test him to see if, and he didn't touch it. So they said, wow, you're really a tzaddik. He said, what makes you think that? He said, because you didn't drink that milk. He said, what milk? He never saw it. So he lives in a different reality. If you live in a different reality, obviously your options are different, so your choices are different. So does a tzaddik have choice? Of course he has choice. But his choices are on a different realm. His choices are, should I do the mitzvah by giving all my money to one person, or same Chernobyl, or should I do the mitzvah by giving my money to 10 people? Oh, that's a big crisis in the world of a tzaddik. Then there's a reality which is earthy. I'm real, my needs are real, and I hear about God. I hear about it, but I'm real. That's the non-tzaddik. Among the non-tzaddiks, there are many, many, many levels. You say to a child, God made that tree. To the child, that is as real as saying, Tati bought it in the store. Either Tati got it or God made it. It's one of the two. And it's equal. You never hear a kid, you say to a kid, God made the tree. And they, no, I think Tati did it. If God did it, God did it. God is as real as Tati. Because the child is not yet so caught up and impressed by physical reality. So non-physical is just as real. That's why children have a natural emunah that adults have a hard time with. Right? Some people never lose that. God is real. I don't see him, he's never come around, but he's real. They never lose that. That's the kind of person who we would call a Beinoni. God is real. So if he hears God doesn't like it, then it's out of the question. So it's not like the tzaddik who can't relate to milk that isn't kosher. He doesn't even see it. He sees it. And he says, does God like this or not? No, God doesn't like it. Then it's out of the question. What makes that? His perception of reality. If God is real, then non-kosher is really not kosher. If God is not real, how can kosher be real? So to the Beinoni, because God is real, all sins are out of the picture. They're off the agenda. God doesn't want. Then there are people who lose that childlike quality, and they'll actually say, if I can't see it, it's not real. Which is not only unintelligent, it means stuck in a very narrow, limited, myopic vision. And that's why most of the great geniuses, Jewish or non, the great inventors, the great writers, they were all believers. They were all believers. Because you can't really be brilliant and live in a cave. So if all you know and all you believe is what you've seen and touched, you're going to write a book about new things. You're not capable. You can't go beyond your program. You can't get out of your box. Because only what you've seen is real. So all geniuses, all great inventors, they were believers. I don't know if they were religious, but they were certainly believers. They were comfortable and familiar with things you can't see or have not yet seen. And that's why they invent or create or discover new things. So the Rasha, what we call a sinful person, is not somebody who is devoted to sinning full time, like some kind of a demented. A sinner simply means his reality is so strong that it blocks out all other reality. And therefore, he's going to sin. Not today, tomorrow, next week, whatever. But God is not real to him. So whatever he does has nothing to do with God. So he's been behaving himself. Okay, tomorrow he won't. Because the conditions. So, does that mean he has no freedom of choice? It means his choices will take place within this very narrow cave of law or break the law. He's right at that border all the time, because that's where he lives. Should I behave myself or should I get into trouble? That's his life. And therefore, those are going to be his choices. To the Beinoni, that's not an option. His perception of reality does not include sin as an option. So what are his options? Eat a second piece of cake or not eat a second piece of cake. Kosher, with a bracha. But is one enough or can you have two? Does he have freedom of choice? He has freedom of choice. Yeah, but he can't sin. Okay, so those are not one of his choices. So you haven't taken away his ability to choose, you've simply taken away some of the optional choices. And that's true of everybody. If you're male, you have different choices than if you're female. If you're Jewish, you have different choices than if you're not Jewish. The options are different. You're equally free to choose. So the tzaddik has his free choice. whatever that is, his crises of what's gooder than good. And then there's the Beinoni, whose options are, if it's kosher, is it okay to indulge a little bit? And then there's the average person, whose options are kosher or not, good or not good, because those are the options that are there for him. So everybody's exercising the same freedom principle, the same freedom muscle, only in different areas.